welcome to the 21st episode of Conscious Awakening, and we talk about, where we talk about spiritual shiz and holistic forms of healing and anything we want to talk about. And today we have Jimmie Flora.
Hey guys.
He is a creative director, writer, poet, and all-around multi-dimensional soul.
Yes, thank you.
As we all are.
You are, yeah.
Yeah, as we all are.
Is.
Yeah, and so we're talking, and we're actually in San Francisco at Dolores Park.
Beautiful weather
where the fire trucks are going haywire right now, if you can hear that. But yeah, I'm really glad that I'm doing this outside of Vegas.
And thank you for having me.
I'm excited that we got to meet up, and now we're here.
Yes.
With the fire trucks.
Yes, again. Typical
San Francisco day.
Yeah.
But so I wanted to talk about Vipassana meditation because I know that you've already done two Vipassana meditations, and I don't really know much about it. So for all who's listening, how did you get started with it, and what is it? What is Vipassana meditation?
So let me tell you.
Let me tell you real quick.
So Vipassana meditation, it's a meditation practice that originated in Burma. It's like close to India. Basically what it is that it's just seeing things as they really are. So with the meditation practice, you begin with Anapana, which is concentration of the breath. Literally just focusing on your nostrils, the air coming in, coming out, and just concentrating with the best of your ability. It sounds easy now, but when you actually sit down and put all your attention to it, it's a lot more challenging than it is, especially with the day-to-day lives that we have. It's just overwhelming at times where your mind wanders. So this practice allows you to center yourself and bring it back to your core. So it begins with your breath, and with Vipassana, it's actually body scans. So with body scans, you start from the tip of your head down to your toes and literally just trail and feel the sensations. And what that does for me, and the purpose is to understand equanimity. So equanimous is just understanding that things have highs, things have lows. In life, there's highs, there's lows. We go through heartache, we go through troubles, challenges in life, and there's also good times and laughter and joy. So with that, the best way to observe it is through your personal experience, and that's done through your body, because your whole body is just a universe in itself. So when you close your eyes and do that for a whole hour, you're literally just observing the micro feelings that's happening all throughout your body. And I went to a retreat beginning of the year, and it's shifted my whole perspective on 2019, and I think it's like the best way to start a year off. So I'm excited about it.
Yay!
Yeah.
So how did you discover the retreat that you went to?
The first time around.
Yeah.
So the first time around, honestly, serendipity. It was in August 2017, and I did this social media cleanse. I didn't go on social media.
For
a month.
Yeah.
And I still went on YouTube and stuff, and I randomly came across this video searching up meditation practices on someone's reaction of getting out of a Vipassana retreat. And this person just looked so he came out of the jungle.
Wait, what?
So the video was he was in his car,
and
he was speaking like he never spoke before, because we're not allowed to speak for 10 days. So it was his initial reaction of coming out of the retreat, and there was a sense of bliss, a sense of
knowingness
content,
about yourself.
And I was like, this looks interesting. And since that video, I just dove into the website and
through the rabbit hole.
Yeah, through the rabbit hole, literally, and signed up and didn't tell anyone and went.
Just did it.
Yeah, just did it. Yeah. So I think that's the best way to go into things too, is kind of just diving into it by yourself.
Yeah, and then you don't have to listen to what anyone else says, give you pencils. No, you shouldn't do that. 10 days, oh my God, what are you going to do with that phone?
Honestly, it's, when you're in there, it's easier than it is, but outside looking in, it's challenging, because now I'm I can't live without my phone. It's business, personal, everything.
Yeah, same. I think I forgot to mention that before. So your retreat was a 10-day retreat, right?
Yes.
So for me, when I listened to that, or when I heard of 10-day retreat, because my friend Gabe did one, I was like, do you literally like wake up, go straight into meditation, and then just sleep? Like, so what exactly goes on a day-to-day basis at a retreat, or the retreat that you went to?
So the first time around, I came in as a student, and then the second time around, I was actually a volunteer.
Oh,
yeah, I ended up doing I was the kitchen manager, so I had to manage everyone eating, and it also, I guess, side note, taught me the importance of food and nutrition into the body, and why we do need to cleanse ourselves from, toxic foods and things like that. But the first time around, as a student, you come in, you put your bags, you come in with all your bags, sign up, they show you to your room. You're still able to speak to everyone. The first time around, actually, I didn't have any expectations coming into it, and the schedule was actually rigorous. We wake up at, I believe, 4 o'clock every day.
4 a.m.?
I believe it's 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. Oh no, the first meditation sitting is at 5 a.m. So literally you're probably meditating from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. the whole day. And you have moments of silence for yourself where you don't have to be in the meditation hall. You're able to walk around the trails, just beautiful scenery all around. So the purpose of no talking is that this retreat isn't supposed to be like a communal thing. It's supposed to be for yourself. So when you come in, your focus is literally just on who you are, just focusing on your thoughts and really sitting there and observing your thinking. So the first 3 days, it's literally just focusing on your nostril area, and after the third day, you get introduced to the body scans. And on day 7, you learn about metta, which is after you do the meditation, you sit for 5 minutes. And this is my favorite part. Metta is just spreading and thinking positive thinking and love and light. So you're able to just smile and
bliss out.
Literally just bliss out. And that's the best part is you hear the crickets chirping at the end of the night. And so that's typically how the schedule is formatted. There's breakfast, lunch, and snack. And snack, yeah.
My favorite time,
exactly. But in between all of that is strict meditation.
Oh. So wait, you mentioned a meditation hall. Is that where you all get together in one place and then you all just meditate?
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
So the meditation hall, there's a pagoda if you want to meditate individually, and then the meditation hall is where everyone comes together, separated by gender, so one side male, one side female. This last retreat, it was probably 50 men, 50 women.
Oh wow, that's huge.
Yeah, it's huge. Wow. And it's just funny, hindsight, looking back, because everyone has their own comfort level of pillows and beanie bags and stuff and chairs. And I think there was one guy who literally had I wouldn't say 20, I think that's over exaggeration.
10 maybe?
Yeah, maybe 10. But he had a mountain of pillows and you just kind of peek and open your eyes and he's high on top, super comfortable.
It's like the Princess and the Pea
yeah, exactly.
type of stuff. So wait, we should probably kind of backtrack. Maybe talk about talk about the basis of meditation, just meditation on itself.
Okay.
Some of my friends have asked me recently of how do I start meditating? Or I was where can I find meditation stuff? And I literally tell them just go to YouTube or go to classes.
Headspace app. That's always a great
app. I tried it and it was okay. I don't know.
Honestly, yeah, it's okay. I don't rely on
awkward. I hope nobody from Headspace
but
is
for
listening.
beginners, honestly, it's the best place to understand mindfulness, and it's a great way to time yourself.
Yeah.
Because with meditation, you can get lost. A 10-second or 10-minute sit can feel like an hour.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So or it could feel an hour can feel 5 minutes. You get lost in your own sense of time and space.
Yeah. So maybe one thing I've learned, there's no right or wrong way to meditate. Just because I feel like a lot of people have the misconception of like meditation is clearing your mind, but I mean, and it's not really clearing your mind, but it's just acknowledging the thoughts that are going through your head and letting them pass.
Exactly.
And I tell my people, my friends. Sorry, you're not my people. You're my friends. I tell my friends to,
Hey, friends.
to just really focus on your breath.
Yes.
Or at least that's my experience. How did you start getting into like just meditation in general?
It's actually a great story.
I like stories.
So there was a moment, probably 5 years ago, I was like a heavy smoker of cigarettes, literally like a pack and a half a day, and I quit. Just like cold turkey. I started feeling symptoms of like phlegm and like congestion and chest pains, and I told myself I need to just do cold turkey. And good idea, bad idea, because I've experienced withdrawals. So after I quit smoking cigarettes for a whole month, I had like insomnia. I couldn't sleep. It was to the point where I would wake up and be delusional. Like I would be stopped at a stop sign and it looked like the road was moving. I would get like 30 minutes of sleep every night.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so because of that, it introduced me to stretching before I go to sleep. And from the stretching, I learned just simple breathing techniques, just like 3 seconds in, 3 seconds out. And I didn't even know that was meditation at first until I dove deeper. And I think just to clarify, there's a difference between meditation and mindfulness, because mindfulness is a bit of that same sense of like being aware of yourself, being aware of your breath. Meditation is that feeling, I would say, like sense of timelessness. Like you just get lost in no thought. Like you could get lost in no thought with photography, like you're just going out taking pictures.
Just doing it,
yeah. So to clarify, like meditation doesn't have to be about the breath, it's just that state of presence and awareness, like being in the now.
Yeah, and meditation is different for everyone.
Exactly.
I mean,
exactly.
some people find meditation in knitting, or like people meditate while washing dishes.
Yeah.
It just all
that
depends
is pretty
on
meditative.
you. Yeah. I am bad with washing dishes.
Oh no.
But I'm getting better at it.
Right. Dishwasher.
But that's a lot of water. I'm like trying
You
to
actually waste more water washing dishes.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know the actual statistic. You could look it up on Google,
okay.
but
yeah. Well, I just know that for laundry, like a washer dryer, that uses a lot of water.
Oh, yeah.
So I thought like a dishwasher would use a butt ton of water too. But never mind.
Yeah.
Our dishwasher's broken anyway.
You can fact check us.
Or you can fact check it. Just don't quote anything from that.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's how I got into meditation, is like quitting smoking and trying to figure out a way to
Oh my gosh, why does my GoPro keep turning off?
getting back into the breath.
I mean, it's still recording on the audio.
Okay.
For all the audio people, I'm sorry, my GoPro is being poopy.
I'm sorry.
It's all good. You know, what's technology without any difficulties?
Right. It's like life. What
It's
is
life.
life?
Yeah,
without
what is
difficulties?
life? We can learn lessons in everything. So you released a book called The Unreality of Time. Well, that's your second book, right?
The second book.
Second book.
But the first one was like a trial run.
It was a trial run?
Yeah. This one I feel was more of like the passion project. The first book was called Softcore. Softcore was about how we all have this hard exterior. Through life, we just go through troubles and struggles that kind of harden us. And because of this breakup that I had, it was an 8-year relationship that ended. That's where all the poetry sprouted from. And because of Softcore, it allowed me to be more vulnerable and just to put it out there. And with my second book, The Unreality of Time, it's actually a 3-part autobiography, and I take poems from 2006 to 2018. So it's a collection.
It's a 12-year collection? Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that.
So it's poems from when I was like in high school.
Oh, yes.
Like
those
depressed.
are the best ones.
Yeah.
That teenage angst.
Exactly. I wish I was a high schooler and
yeah,
experiencing that angst.
But Did that also stem, like, were you kind of aware of the spiritual side of you when you did start writing Unreality of Time? Or is that just something that flowed from you and just you wrote it on paper?
I would say yes and no. Like how you do auto journaling. In 7th grade, shout out to Miss Chandler.
Aww.
She actually introduced me to like free writing, where the first 10 minutes of our class, she would like tell us not to just keep writing and not stop.
Stop, yeah.
Just whatever you write, even if your hand hurts, she'll tell us to keep writing. So that's how I started getting into poetry, was just free flow thought. And the spiritual side is that, yes, I think growing up Filipino, my parents were always ingraining some sort of spirituality, like Catholicism and stuff like that. I was actually confirmed when I lived in Japan. Are you familiar with like confirmation and like the precepts?
I forgot.
I don't know all the details, but I know you have to go through like baptism, Eucharist, and when you're like an adult or teen, you go through confirmation.
I feel like I did that, but I just block it out
Yeah.
from my memory.
So I had some sense of spirituality. It's actually pretty cool because I lived in Japan when I was like 12 to 15, and that's when I went through confirmation courses, and we had a final retreat during spring break of 2003, and it was actually at Kampakita. It's one of the nunneries, I think that's the word. Nunneries, where all the nuns.
All the nuns are. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a statue of Mother Mary that cried blood. So that's like, it's a pilgrimage site where many people come and visit. So that's where I had my confirmation retreat. And I guess also looking back at it, there's like this beautiful trail that we walk, and we were supposed to walk there in silence. And I guess that was my first experience of not talking and being at this meditative spiritual state. Yeah, so I think at a young age I was very in tuned because of these experiences, and I like spilled that out in poetry. Yeah,
that's how you released it all to the world.
So yay, poetry.
Yeah, you can check out his book. Here's a plug. Check out his book. It's on Amazon or on his website.
Yeah,
we'll talk about all that at the end, where you can find all that stuff. But there was one other thing we wanted to talk about, and I totally slipped my mind. Yeah, it totally slipped my mind. But
it'll come back.
It'll come back.
I could talk more about the Unreality of Time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, Unreality of Time. It's a 3-part autobiography. It's just my thoughts, existential thoughts that I write in my journal that I put into poetry. There's poems that I took when I was tripping on acid. That was fun.
Nice.
And documenting like the breakup or pre-breakup, going into what happens afterwards, and finding out who I am and kind of rediscovering myself. And part 3 is me forgiving myself, falling in love with myself, and falling in love again. And basically the book is about love and how we can't really love someone else until we love ourselves first. And obviously it sounds cliche.
Yeah.
But
preach it.
Yes.
Just claps
it really is. Right. You can't really love yourself you can't love someone else until you love yourself. And I think growing up, we're consuming media that like romanticizes love, and we want that to be like this picture perfect thing, or it's portraying love as loving someone through all the toxicity and through all this thing.
And it gives you like these expectations of what love should be, but it's not.
It's really to each their own. I've seen so many different relationships work out, and they're like, oh, I guess if it works for them, it works for them.
Yeah. I shouldn't have said it's not, but from what I've learned and through all the relationships that I've gone through, I'm like, yeah, stuff in the movies are not what are for me, or like how that has worked. That hasn't worked for me.
Exactly. like 500 Days of Summer.
Oh, I love that movie though. It's one of my favorite movies.
I'm like, I want that, but then you don't.
Yeah, but then you don't, and then you're like, there's a deeper meaning to this.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I actually didn't know it was a 3-part autobiography.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. So
I just
check
really
it out.
wanted to
Part
support
1, 2,
you.
and 3.
So I bought
Thank
his
you.
book.
I
So
appreciate
yeah,
it.
it's actually on a stand on my shelf. So it's actually, it looks pretty dope. It's like around my
Thank
crystal.
you.
So yeah. And my friend walked into my room and she was like, this book looks really familiar. Like I've seen it before on like my Instagram posts.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh yeah, now I remember. I was like, it's my friend. I don't think he's marketing it that much. But
it's honestly just a form of expression that I needed to come out. It was,
yeah.
I think after that oral reading, that was like honestly the reason why I was like, I need to do this book, because there was like some creative force that
like
needed to come out.
confirmation.
Yeah, so thank you for taking me to that. By the way,
You know, I'm so glad that you and Justin went, because I was like, I didn't know what to expect because it was my first time too. So I think it really hit us all deep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I left there like, whoa.
Yeah.
What did I just go into?
Do you want to talk about like your reading? If by
yes.
Do you want to talk about it by any chance? Like what helped spark it? What sparked your book?
So with the reading, I'm trying to remember, when was this? It was in August. I'm like backtracking. It was in August. You invited me. I was visiting Vegas, and you invited me and Justin to go to an aura reading. We were like super late because we were rushing. Came in, she took our photos, and as we were discussing it, mine was literally, I think, purple around my head and red. It was like a blockage.
Same. It was same for me too, yeah.
And she, I forget her name. Renee, she said that there's like a blockage, like a creative energy that needed to come out.
I remember the first thing she asked you said, what's stopping you?
Yes, yeah. Oh yeah, you sent me the audio.
Yeah,
okay.
I record them low-key.
Oh, I have a good memory. Yeah, so she said, what's stopping you? And literally, like, so with the first book, Softcore, I felt like that those poems in there it wasn't like a full expression. It felt like a blockage. I obviously didn't know what I was doing looking back at it now, but after the reading, I was like, oh wow, I really need to just be poetic and express this. And just, that was a confirmation to me that let me go out and just collect all the poetry. Because with poems and things like that, I guess I'm very tedious, and when it comes to like the sequential order of poems, like which
you're
poems
essentially
go
showing
first.
your journey in life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like how the poems are sequenced, like part 1, 2, and 3. It's honestly like a mishmash, and I had to sit there and like individually figure out what goes after what and things like that. So just the timing of after the
aura photo
reading, I was able to sit down and like plan it out in 1 month. Yeah.
Wow, 1 month.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't stress enough how much I love the aura photo reading, because one, Renee's awesome. 2, it's really hard to I can't think of the word. I want to say physicalize, but that's totally not the word. But just put spirituality in a physical sense. And so I feel like I mentioned this before. Since I'm a visual person, I like seeing things.
Exactly.
And I like touching things. And so an aura photo was something I could do with that. But with the combination of Renee explaining your aura photo and just having that aura photo in your hands, it's like a confirmation of where you need to go, or like what you need to really focus on for yourself to move, like thrust yourself forward and be even better. And so yeah, can't stress that enough.
Do an aura reading.
Do an aura photo reading with Renee if it really feels like it resonates with you. And I know she's based in Vegas, but there's aura photo readers out there. There's some in San Francisco. I know there's some in Detroit, and there's some in LA. Just honestly Google that shiz and be like aura photo reading and then your city. And
it was very insightful for me.
Yeah.
Even if I think you're skeptical on those type of things, at the end of it, it's still insightful because of, on top of the reading, on top of everything that she adds on, it creates a meaning for you, regardless of whether you believe in those things or however that works, you know.
I mean, and you do have, if you do have a skepticism about that, I mean, that's totally okay. But if you just feel like this is something you should do, or like just check out, even if you may not like fully believe it, just go with it.
Try it out.
And see whatever that reader has for you, because everyone reads differently. But I just love Renee because she's just very intuitive and she just brings it in. And somebody asked her, like, how do you just know? And she's like, I don't know, I just know.
That's the intuition.
She laid down in the chair and she's like, honestly, I don't know. It just flows through. Like one time she talked about somebody having a thyroid problem. And that person did not talk about a thyroid problem beforehand. So she was like, what the hell? How'd you know that I have a thyroid problem?
Wow.
But yeah. At the same time, don't have any expectations and just go in there with an open mind.
You never know if you don't go.
Yeah, you never know you don't go.
You never shine if you don't glow.
Oh, I love that.
Hey,
oh my God.
You're awesome.
Oh, wait. I didn't know that was lyrics. I was like, oh wow, I really like that quote. Oh man, my foot's starting to sleep, and it's starting to drizzle a little bit in Dolores Park. It is great. And see, like, it's just a conversation.
I know, I'm
flows.
like,
You were like, I need some notes to write down, and honestly,
I blanked out.
Yeah, no, you didn't. You're doing amazing, and I really do appreciate the time that you're taking to
Thank you.
to come and do this. And can I take your tote bag and put this over my career?
Oh yeah.
Because I was like,
it's starting to drizzle.
It's starting to drizzle.
I appreciate you. I think I tell you this every time we end up having a conversation. Is that I appreciate that you are creating these this content of like, we're at a time where we really need to come together, and you're documenting it. You're getting different people to speak about their experiences and their spiritual journey, and I think the time that we live in now is so beautiful.
Oh yeah.
I feel like not just spiritual, but we're living in a Renaissance period where we're able to be creative, we're able to be artful in whatever means possible. Like, I know so many people who are, I do this, but I'm /artist, or I'm artist /this. There's so many people that are out here like thriving, and it's just amazing that you're compiling everyone, putting them together, and I love to vision 10 years from now looking back on your like 1,000th episode or something like that.
I know. I'm like, when I started this like first episode, I told myself, oh, I'm gonna look back and I'm gonna be like, oh, look at all the likes and ums and weird pauses that I used to have, and it's just cool to see that documentation. And it's like, just for anything, like photos, you go back in your middle school years and you're like, whoa, what did I used to be like that?
Yeah,
look at me now. That's that song, Look at Me Now. Ooh, I was trying to do a little of Vipassana right there and scan my leg that was falling asleep.
Exactly,
you know, those
that's skill.
those 1,000 needles of pain. I was just staring in your eyes and be like, it's okay. My leg is okay. But yeah, that's like an example. That's like an example, right, of Vipassana meditation.
It is Vipassana.
If like your foot is numb or your leg is numb, just kind of sit still and kind of study it. Yeah, observe it, and you'll find that it won't hurt. No. Like it's just happening. It's just flowing through you. That's what's happening right now. Like I can feel the 1,000 needles of pain in my leg right now, but it doesn't hurt.
And what's beautiful about Vipassana is that it teaches you impermanence, that things come and go, that not everything is forever. Like the pain needle feeling that you're feeling, it'll go away. Yeah. So that's life in your whole body, experiencing like, I just am always mind blown that what's happening out there in the microcosms is literally happening within us. Yeah.
You know that Alina Baraz song?
What's up?
The universe in society. I'm just like, yes, I love this song so much.
Even with musical artists, like musicians, and everyone's always connecting to spirituality in a sense, like
even when they don't know it.
Yeah.
Because it's there, like you can't hide from it.
Yeah.
Like it's part of you, mind, body, and soul.
Exactly.
And that's why I just want to help people become more aware of their spiritual side. Because sometimes externals are like, oh no, that's taboo, or like, no, that's bad stuff. But don't listen what the outside world has to tell you. Just listen to what's inside of you.
Yes, the intuition.
Yeah.
I think in the digital age, we're always so used to Googling. Like, I challenge everyone to not use Google.
I'm guilty of Googling.
Like, don't use Google and literally just sit there in a dark space and concentrate on the answer, because you really have the answer for yourself. Not like, I guess, not questions that are factual or that have like statistics and things like that, but intuitive answers that you can really rely on yourself.
Yeah, just the knowingness of like what is right for you at that moment.
Exactly.
And that's a good question, because you were asking me yesterday like what shadow work is.
Yeah.
And so from my Googles, I haven't really meditated on it yet, but from what I've learned so far, it's literally been like a week since I really stumbled upon the term and have dived into it. But shadow work is the work that you do to go into the parts that make you uncomfortable. Just pretty much reiterating my video from yesterday. But like, for example, for maybe it's like a small example is like when I get annoyed after somebody does a certain thing. Like so I go in and I'm like, why do I get annoyed? And it's a lot of questioning.
Yeah.
And it's rather than just like being aware of it and just like having it repeat, you take the time to really process it and understand why you're the way you are for that particular moment. Does that make sense? I don't know. It does make sense.
I think it does make sense.
But just essentially, it's the dark sides of you that bring up lower vibrations.
Yes.
And being aware of what triggers you to bring those lower vibrations up.
It's like that sense of awareness that you're not just always going to be good. You're not always going to be like, there's traits of you. Have you seen Us by Jordan Peele?
No,
like
I haven't yet. Everyone keeps talking about it. I need to go see it.
When you said shadow side, I was like, oh wow, that's...
Wait, is that really what they talk about?
I think, yes. Yeah.
Yeah?
Like, everyone has a dark side, and our worst enemy is ourselves at times. But there's like different interpretations on what the movie
I just got an interpretation, so this just a little download. So the shadow side, I mean, essentially we're all light beings, but when the light shows on us, we do have like this little trail, and essentially you want to clear that trail as much as possible, and it lingers because you can't, when a shadow hits you, you can't get rid of it.
Yes.
And essentially, this is what I'm downloading, but when the light is shining, like the external light shines on you, you have to be a light that shines eventually when you're like super enlightened and just awakened. You become the light that's so bright that there is no other light that can shine on you to cast a shadow.
Oh, I see.
Boom! Download!
I just got a download right now. And so there's like a light source that we're talking about. I'm just like trying to imagine this right now. And let's say the light source is like in front of you. There's always like a sense of a shadow behind you. But if your light source is here, and I'm thinking in terms of like chakra and like the portals of energy comes from like our crown chakra. So if the light source is right above us, there's literally no shadow.
Yeah, there's no shadow.
Because it's shining right down on us.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, downloaded somehow.
Yay, download!
Yes. It's so funny that we're now using terms, like the digital terms, when we're talking about things that are natural or should be organic or intuitive to us. Like we've just have adapted those terminologies that we're kind of like digital beings, like binary and things like that. So just interesting.
There's just a lot of stuff we don't know, and
that's one thing I do know.
That's one thing you do know.
Is that we don't know.
There's a lot of stuff we don't know, but there's also a lot of stuff that we do know. And just gotta peel the layers off to find it inside of you. Yeah, because we're all onions, essentially. If you want to relate,
mind if I recite a poem?
Yeah, of course. Oh my God, please.
And suddenly he awoke, in the midst of being awake. He could feel the brisk air brush against his skin, the Psalm calm of palm trees in the wind. He could feel his presence in the very essence of everything else.
Ooh, give me chills. Wait, okay. Just gotta breathe. Because that just gave me chills.
Presence.
I just realized I didn't plug in my GoPro, so I'm gonna do that. But is there any other downloads?
Oh, hold on. There's a big file.
It's a big file. It's taken a while, you
Right.
know. It's a good thing we don't have DSL anymore.
Exactly.
You gotta. Have you heard about that 5G? By the way, the whole 5G happenings.
Well, 5G.
So
Oh,
like, you know how we have 4G?
Mhm.
Apparently there's supposed to be 5G, and it's tapping into different dimensions to essentially give us faster speed. And I'm just like, what?
What?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like something I just learned about and haven't really dived in yet. If you're listening to this and have any corrections for me, please let me know. Oh man, my foot's asleep again.
5G from a different dimension?
Mm-hmm.
I can't even comprehend that right now.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm just like, how are we getting this internet now? Like, where is it? Like the waves, just the satellite waves, are all bouncing.
I think it's satellite waves bouncing.
I'm obviously a very scientific and technological person. This is me showing my humility when it comes to this stuff.
I think I've seen this.
Can't move right
The
now.
way that technology, or I don't know if it's telephones, but it's actually underground.
Oh.
The waves that are, I don't know if it's telephone or internet, but it's literally underground. I'll find it and I'll send it to you.
It would be
It's
cool
like a
to talk to
visual.
somebody that is in the internet industry. I don't know how to call it. The internet
industry?
The what?
Tech industry?
Tech industry, who is also very like spiritually aware about themselves and kind of find the connection between the two, because essentially in a perfect world there's a balance between spirit and science.
Yes.
And we're getting there,
Yeah.
slowly but surely.
I think the more that we learn, we figure out that it's actually all.
It's all one.
Yeah, it's all.
It's all
interconnected.
one. Are you aware of oh my gosh, what's that? Like Atlantis, I mean, and Lemuria? Have you ever heard of
What was the second word?
Lemuria?
What's that one?
So Lemuria is the civilization after Atlantis. So you're aware of Atlantis, the city that got buried underwater. So Lemuria is also the ancient civilization where, it was Lemuria first and then Atlantis. And Lemuria was like the civilization just full of love and light, and then Atlantis came and then they started to create technology. And then that's when all like the more corrupt stuff happened, and that's why Source was like, this is too much. That's why they kind of buried it underwater. Because there was so much like that technology was too much, and kind of brought the darker side out of people. And so, yeah.
I think I've seen something like this on Spirit Science.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Let me talk about it on Spirit Science. But yeah, it's random fact. What time is it, by the way?
It's 11:30. Justin already left. He
Oh,
just
you already
said,
left?
we're gonna have a good time. Get my autograph from her.
Oh, shout out to Justin.
Yay.
I love you.
Aw.
But yeah, I don't know how long this has been going since my GoPro kind of.
Oh, it went out.
No, I mean it's going, but.
Oh. Have you heard of this thing of, it's not flat Earth, but that the Earth is hollow?
Hollow?
This is more of like a conspiracy.
Oh no, I have not heard of this before.
But to me, it kind of makes sense. So they say that they, as in, conspiracy theory and
Theorists.
the Earth is hollow, and that at the points of the North and South Pole, it's actually entry points inside. And the science behind it is that when you look at when things rotate, say like a hurricane, there's always like an eye of a hurricane. And the Earth isn't actually a sphere, it's more of a pulled,
like an oblong?
yeah, like a cotton candy being pulled. So Just a random
thought.
The Earth is hollow.
I gotta look into that more. I don't like. I like listening to these stories,
Yeah.
but I don't.
There's no like concrete.
Yeah, there's no concrete. I don't shut it down and be like, that's definitely not true. Because I mean, I want to be as open as possible because there are so many things out there that are still unexplainable.
Yes.
And yeah, just whatever feels right for you. But at the same time, it's like one of those things where like that's not really a point of focus for me to really digest and really sit inside.
Like, what is
me.
that really going to do for me? Type of
like
information.
is that gonna help me grow as a person?
Yeah.
I'm like, sure, thanks. Like I love that. I'm grateful for Mother Earth that she's here, but and I was just always that type of person who was like.
I have a question for you.
Ooh.
Do you feel like you're from this earth, or do you feel out of this?
Oh, I'm not from this earth. Well, if you believe in past lives, I have a ton of past lives. And the energy clearing that I did, my, I don't know what to call her, but my friend, she was like, yeah, I actually saw you as a wizard from some ancient civilization, and then I also saw your ancestors from your Native American past life. I was like, cool, I was a Native American in a past life. But yeah, from what Hi, doggy! From what I'm aware, I've had past lives in all the way to Lemuria, like the first civilization, and I've also had a past life in Japan, which is why I resonate with Japanese people a lot, or just the Japanese culture in general. And yeah, it's just very interesting.
It is interesting.
Because essentially, when I was talking about in one of my episodes how I don't fear the concept of death, I fear the physicality of death. Because I believe that we just our soul and our mind and ego and consciousness goes into another shell, essentially.
Yes.
So
we're vessels.
Yeah. We're meat sacks.
Yeah,
So
meat
I just
sacks.
like saying meat sacks. But yeah, that's just something I've learned. And do you feel like you're not from this?
I actually
earth?
feel like I'm from this earth.
You
like,
are?
From this planet. Yeah, I care. Like feeling a sense of care to be around nature and like in attunement to the soil and taking off my socks and really feeling the bare sand on my feet. Even like, have you heard of sun gazing?
Oh yeah, I've done it a couple times.
Yeah, to me, like, I'm like, this makes so much sense. Did you know that vitamin D isn't even a vitamin?
Wait, what do you mean? What is it then?
It's a hormone.
Oh.
And our body is literally like reacting to the sun on like this hormonal level.
Yeah.
Where I used to think that vitamin D was a vitamin until I took a class and I was like, what?
Yeah, you're like, whoa.
Are we like these like beings?
So what are we putting in our body when we're taking vitamin D vitamins?
Hormones.
Oh, we're taking.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. What are you doing
Learn
to
more
us?
about what.
Pharmaceutical?
Yeah,
No, I'm just
exactly. But with sun gazing, and of course, like we get vitamin D from the sun, and I'm like, how awesome is that our body's responding to like this spherical source of light from like trillions of miles away, and when you sun gaze, it's like the perfect time to literally just stand there and like soak it all in. Like it's food for our body, like from a light.
Well, there are people out there who don't eat food at all, and all they do is stare at the sun, and that's how they get energy. And I'm just like,
really?
That's freaking wild. Yeah, there are. My friend told me that. I forgot who.
Human plants.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
Photosynthesis. But yeah, that person doesn't eat anything, like orally at least.
Wow.
It eats the sun, the sun's energy.
I don't know if I would try that. Maybe when I'm like older.
Yeah. That's when you reach like ultimate alignment.
Yes.
But there's no like end goal when it comes to alignment. You're always learning every day.
Exactly.
And because there's just so much information out there that we don't know, I mean, it never ends.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that means you're an elemental.
Oh, what does that mean?
So there's two, these are labels, but there are two essentially sources that we come from. We're elemental, so we're actually from this earth, or we're galactic, which is what I resonate with a lot. So that's why I really love like staring at the moon, staring at the stars, and just laying in the grass and just looking up and being like, oh, hi, babes. The moon, you're so beautiful. But yeah, you were saying when you really like being in the soil and being around in nature, that's somebody who's elemental. Do you consider yourself very grounded for the most part?
I feel that I'm both.
You're both?
Yeah.
But, I mean, essentially we're all both, so we can connect to all. But
true.
For the most part, do you find yourself like you don't lash out a lot emotionally, or you just kind of like sit down and
I'm pretty zen.
Yeah.
I'm like,
So you're relatively grounded. Yeah. So they're like just some characteristics. You just like to get in the dirt, and you just literally want to hug trees. Well, I'm not saying that you like to do that, but usually.
Have you hugged a tree before? Maybe
no,
today will
maybe
be the
I'll
first
hug
day.
a tree. There's some beautiful trees behind us, so I'm probably gonna hug a tree today. But actually, I'm learning that I'm from both, but I resonate with this galaxy more because most of my past lives are from up there, and yeah, I gotta go way back. I go way back. We all go way back.
Yeah, I've met some new souls though.
New souls?
Yeah, beautiful experience when you're like, oh, they're like fresh babies. Like, literally just, you could tell, there's like a energy vibe that you get, and you're like, this is literally their first time on the earth.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't met anyone like that.
New souls?
Yeah, I've never met any souls. I've only been really interacting with older souls, but still just a label.
Yeah, they're all just labels.
Hi, doggy. Hello. Guest appearance.
Right.
Oh, I love it. Do you connect with animals?
I do.
Yeah.
So my dog just passed away 2 weeks ago. Rest in peace. His name was Meaty Boo.
Meaty Boo?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so cute.
He's named after Lil Wayne.
Oh my gosh.
Verse. But yeah, I connect with animals. I feel after he passed away, I felt very connected to my other two dogs. And even when you look into their eyes, you can sense consciousness. And sometimes with other dogs, you could sense like, is there a soul in there? Is there a conscious, like a past life in their being too? It's interesting.
You should. I resonate with cats a lot though. I mean, I love all animals. I've actually noticed myself whenever like there's a fly or a mosquito, I don't kill it. I just I just let it capture it and then let it go outside. I'm like, you're not supposed to be in here, but I don't want to kill you because you're here for a reason. I
do that with spiders.
Oh yeah?
I put them in a cup and I shake it so they get dizzy and then I look at them out.
Get dizzy? But yeah, just like anything like that, like cockroaches, anything that most people find gross or just scary. I just found myself to have that compassion of like, no, they're living souls too. And so, yeah, I resonate with cats a lot. And
do you have a cat?
No, but I feel like this year I'm gonna get a cat. I just feel it. But I forgot where I was going with that.
Animals.
Oh, animals. Oh yeah, I was gonna say take notice to see if you're ever meditating or anything, notice if anything like twitches or touches. Because when I went to my friend's house, she was the guest on episode 2. She was the one who does emotion code. I was doing emotion code and I felt something like kept twitching here, and I was like, I can't tell if that's like something there, like an emotion there, or she's like, oh, it's probably my dog. And she asked her pendulum. She's like, yeah, it's my dog. Because I've been there twice and there was always something like twitching around here. And so yeah, maybe just like take note that's your soul or your dog spirit, just like saying hi.
Yeah, I definitely believe that. I feel like with my dog, I see him now as like this guardian angel dog, and just always around and watching over me and protective. So
that's so interesting because I know only from social media. I know 2 other people whose cats just recently passed away too.
R.I.P.
Yeah, R.I.P. They're so cute, even though I didn't get to meet them. But there's like that's just one example of a big shift that could happen for you. Because I'm assuming that was a really big shift for you when he passed away. But just stuff. Everyone's going through their own things at the same time. We're all going through the same thing. Yeah.
Do you know the word sonder?
I've heard that word before. I feel like that's one of David's tracks, David Cuff.
Oh yeah, I think so.
I think
There's
like,
also an artist named Sonder.
oh, maybe that too. Just never mind. But maybe I'll go look at David's SoundCloud later.
Shout out David Cuff.
Yay, David Cuff.
But Sonder is basically just that. Like I think it's the knowing that everyone is going through just a complex and interesting life as you. Like everyone has their own complexities and living through their own challenges. So that's the word that describes that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I gotta look that up more. Google. I'm not gonna Google it.
Google it. Make your own definition.
Yeah, I'll make my own definition. Yeah, I was always the type of person who Googles, oh, hi, doggy. Hi. This is not a...
Speaking of dogs.
Hi. Do you want to... Okay. All right.
He knew.
He's like, oh, they're doing something. But yeah, I used to find myself always Googling definitions of words because I didn't really...
Same. I still do that today.
Yeah.
I just screenshot and save it.
I know. My friend is very... His vocabulary... He has a... What's the word?
Extensive?
Yeah, he has a very extensive vocabulary. And so every time he says a new word, I'm just like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah, like, but thank you for the lessons. Oh, this dog is so cute. Aww.
I think words are awesome, yet they're restricting us. Like you could put a word or meaning onto something and it defines it. It's been labeled now.
Yeah, it's been labeled.
But it's like a Pokeball, and you've captured that word, and now it's like defined. But sometimes it's beautiful to just leave it unnamed.
Yeah, because in that way, it's a form of kind of showing. Oh my gosh, I like totally blanked out.
It's okay.
It's a way of effectively communicating what that thing is to another person. Essentially.
Yeah.
But I grew up always asking myself, why is a tree not called a toilet? Why is a toilet not called a tree? Just like,
those are the best questions to ask.
I know, I'm just like, who creates that? Hey, buddy, do you want to come into the podcast? No? Okay. Aww. So cute. Okay, we're getting just really distracted. But anyways. But yeah, I always thought that, I think that was the very first thing that I realized about myself, of that my inquisitiveness towards life and like why the things are the way they are. And I'm very interested if anyone else has ever had those questions to themselves.
Exactly.
Have you ever questioned that, like why things are labeled the way they are?
I just think, or when I was a kid, I used to ask like, why? It was, I was always
You're always
asking
a white person.
why. Yeah, and my mom, being Filipino, would always just like try and stop me from asking
shrug it off?
questions. Yeah.
Same.
I'm like, how come you don't want to answer these questions? But yeah, I feel like growing up, we have to continue asking questions, being inquisitive, and sometimes we need to ask the right questions, because if we don't, we'll end up in a loop, or we'll end up down the wrong trail, where we're like, why am I even looking this up right now? Why?
Rabbit hole.
Where am I going with this?
Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, it feels like it could be a wrong path, but you're right where you need to be.
Oh, so, yeah.
That was my video last week.
You're right where you're supposed to be.
Yeah, you're right where you're supposed to be. Because I think about that too, of like, oh, if I go down this path, is it wrong for me? But it's not wrong. It's just what I'm supposed to go through so I can learn those lessons and then just keep going with life.
It's like a lily pad. We're like frogs, and there's not like one trail. We're just frogs hopping on different lily pads to like different destinations.
I want to see that. I want to see a frog hopping on the lily pad. I mean, I can envision it. Are you a visual person? Like, can you see really well in your...
Oh, yeah.
Really? I feel like I struggle with
Have you ever tried speaking to your... I forget what... I did like this guided...
Oh, like talking to your spirit guide?
I think so. But my spirit guides was my two grandpas that passed away. But they were in the form of... One was a phoenix and one was a peacock.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. And
those are very powerful birds.
Is a peacock powerful?
Just symbolically.
Okay.
Just symbolically.
I visualize like a peacock in a fight right now in my head.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait. I don't
You're like, wait a second.
But yeah, very regal. But yeah, have you tried one of those, like a guided?
Yeah, I have, but I tried that when I first started my spiritual journey, and I haven't done it recently. So I'll do it recently and see how it is. Because I think, actually, I did do a meditation in a class setting where you talk to your spirit guides, and just for me personally, I am just somebody that learns more in conversation. Like, I don't have to see that.
Yeah.
And because when I did my shamanic journey, whoever I was talking about, we were just talking, and like I couldn't really see them, but the message still got across. So that's just, I guess that's just how I like know and process my messages. But it would be cool to see.
Yeah.
And so that's something I'm like manifesting this year, to become a more visual person. Because essentially we all have those gifts, like clairaudience, clairvoyance, claircognizance. And
I know one of the exercises that you could do to like strengthen that is to imagine an apple, and kind of like if you're working on, what is that? You're like
laptop?
design.
No,
thing.
we're all just blanking out.
When you close your eyes, you're imagining your
artwork.
Yeah, your artwork or Photoshop, and you're like looking at the apple in 3D, and it's rotating. So you do that every day and kind of expand and like do different parts of the apple. But that I don't know where I got that from. I think from Tony Robbins.
I keep hearing his name.
He's
recently.
honestly like powerful. His focus isn't spiritual in a sense, but a lot of it is connected to like using your third eye and things like that, like reframing your past, and a lot of his teaching is like strength and finding the courage in yourself, using techniques like that, like using your third eye and visualization.
Cool. Yeah, I definitely kept hearing a lot of his quotes from my friends, and my friend did go to a seminar in Vegas, so I'll look up. I'm like, this is a sign to go look him up more, because that's like the 4th time I've heard his name.
Oh, really?
In a month. So I'm like, okay, I'll go check him out.
Yes.
Hey, so I think we're reaching to 50 minutes, or almost an hour.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Awesome.
It's 58 minutes. Just kidding. All right. Do you have anything else before I close it out?
No. Oh, thank you.
Yay.
I think for me, I'm a person of gratitude. I always feel like it's important to just start with gratitude and end with gratitude, and I like where this conversation led us to.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yay.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Thank you
being
for
here.
having me.
Yeah, and for coming out here, taking the BART to come out here. And where can we find you online, and where can we find your book?
Yes. So on Instagram, I'm Jimmie.Flora. I have a website, JimmieFlora.com. You can find my book, The Unreality of Time, on Amazon, on Barnes & Noble's online. And yeah.
Jimmie with an I-E.
Oh yeah,
not a Y.
Jimmie.Flora, F-O-L-O-R-A. Yeah.
I mean, I'll put that in the description anyway, but just for anyone listening to the audio. Yay.
Thanks for having me.
Yay, no, thank you for being here and taking the time. Every time, I'm always like, thank you, because it's so important to express gratitude, because without whatever just happened, I could not be here. And we could not just, and you wouldn't be listening to this, and yada, yada, yada.
You would have been just sitting here by yourself.
I know, just talking to myself. What if I had, well, I mean, essentially that's what I'm doing with my Wednesdays. I just sit by myself and talk to a camera. But yes, thank you again, and I'll see you next time. Actually, I think, all right, this is going to be me. This is going to be my last episode of the season 2, and I'm probably going to take a break because I'm focusing on my other project. So thank you for being my last episode for the season. Yay.
Thank you.
Yay. All right, now it's finally over. Like, done. Good. Hitting the recording. But yes, like, share, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. Okay, bye.